Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and you join me here inside an Aston Martin DBX. Now, this is Aston Martin's first foray into the world of SUVs. Of course, every manufacturer these days has to produce an SUV because there is an insatiable appetite for them. Aston Martin, however, promises that this is an SUV with the soul of a sports car, so I guess putting the sport into SUV. This starts at £158,000. The model tested here is £181,765. We'll have a look at the interior, the exterior, performance, all that sort of thing. We'll point out a couple of the options as we go along. But I guess a couple to point out whilst we're here inside is, first one is the indulgence pack. So that comes with 16-way adjustable heated and ventilated seats. And that includes heated and air-conditioned seats in the rear as well. So it's always a nice to have. And the elegance pack, the indulgence pack is £1,995. The elegance pack at £2,995 comes with this lovely quilted leather and the embroidered logos that you can see on all of the headrests there. And the other one to point out now as well is the convenience pack that's fitted to this car, which is basically the electronically operated tailgate with gesture control. That's definitely a box worth ticking, because I imagine that boot lid is really heavy. But anyway, we'll point out the rest of the options as we go along, and we shall start by having a look at the exterior. So let's have a look around the Aston Martin DBX. Now, I think this is a really good looking SUV. I know some people have pointed out, perhaps unkindly, that from the front it bears a passing resemblance to the Ford Cougar. I would definitely say the rear end is the best angle of it, but I do like the way this looks, and it has drawn a lot of comments. People are obviously quite interested. Obviously, when Aston Martin enter the game, it does change the scene a little bit, and it's no different for the SUVs. So we said we'd have a look at a couple of the options. So the first one to point out here is that paintwork. So it's called Q Satin Titanium Silver, and it's £5,995. There's also you can see the black effects down the bottom and on the bonnet as well, so they are optional extras as well. So the gloss black upper, which includes the roof line and the bits on the side here and the wing mirrors, that comes in at £3,995, and to have the gloss black on the lower bits there is £995. So another option as well while we're here are these rather fantastic looking 22-inch sport gloss black wheels. So they will set you back an extra £995. But I think they do look really good, and as you can see, the brakes in there are absolutely massive, and they do a good job, and they need to as well, because this isn't a light car. I think it weighs in around about 2.3 tons. So that V8 obviously produces a bit of power as well. It'll propel this from 0 to 60 in around 4.4 seconds, so it does take some stopping as well. We'll come round towards the back now. Like I said, I do think this is the best angle of this car. I think from the rear, I mean, it's undeniably, I think it is the best looking SUV from the rear. I think that's a really, it's got a really nice profile. I love the way those tail lights sweep across. So another option here is the smoked glass, those tail lamps. That's £595. And another option to point out on the back here is the sports exhaust, which comes in at £1,495. But we'll have a listen to that in a bit more detail on the drive along. But it does sound really good. I mean, all in all, I mean, it's a good looking car, but it retains a bit of subtlety as well. It's not outrageous looking. I think it is quite pretty. Yeah, you could prefix that with for an SUV, but I do think this is a good looking car. I think the black effects really suit it quite well as well, and the privacy glass at the rear, and those sort of sloping roof line and all that sort of thing. I do quite like it, and it's no different inside. So we shall have a look in there now. Right, let's have a look up front in the DBX. So just push the key door handle in there, jump in, and first thing you'll notice when we close the door, just how quiet it is in here. It really is quite a nice place to be, actually, nice and quiet. So it does come with the acoustic privacy glass in the back, which makes a difference, and you do get this really nice full-length panoramic roof, which is, that's really nice, really makes it feel light, airy and more spacious in here. But we'll start it up. So the V8 isn't too intrusive in the cabin, so it is quite muted. So I've got it in GT mode at the moment. You can cycle through a couple of the options. So you get the buttons down here, so you can cycle through the modes here, and it's got like hill descent for a bit of serious off-roading, if that's your thing. It will park itself as well. It's got that button there, the sonars, lane keep assist, and all that sort of thing. It's got adaptive cruise control as well. Steering wheel, so this is the upgraded sports steering wheel. I think it's £400. It is heated as well, but I mean, it is really adjustable. I mean, it really does go a long way up, down, backwards and forwards and all that sort of stuff, so you can get it in the right position, and you can see the flappy paddles there if you want to tackle a bit of manual driving. Another thing in here is the contrast stitching, so that's £695, and you get, you know, full Alcantara headlining and all that business. And yeah, I mean, it is a really, really comfortable place to be. These seats are really nice. I think they've done a really good job. I mean, bearing in mind that this is Aston Martin's first stab at an SUV, I think they've done a really good job. My only slight complaint is that the sort of the buttons for the drive and stuff are a little bit far. You have to go through the inconvenience of leaning forward, but you know, I guess you'd get over that. All your HVAC controls are down here, so it's a mixture of sort of, these are touchscreen. If you touch them, they come on, and you've got the buttons for going up and down the fans and all that sort of stuff. This isn't touchscreen, so everything's handled through the scroller here or the mouse pad, depending on your preference. Storage wise, there is quite a big storage bin under there, and that is also the button to open the boot, so you can shove bits and pieces, rest your phone in there. There's a couple of cup holders, and there's quite a deep storage bin in there with a 12-volt socket and a couple of USB sockets as well. Oh yeah, it's got a glove box, so you press that button there, that pops open, so you know, always handy. So yeah, there's plenty of storage space on here. I mean, if you're covering long distances, you're going to be very, very comfortable sitting in here. But anyway, let's crack on and see what it's like to drive. Anyway, you would buy an Aston Martin DBX because it is an Aston Martin. So we'll start with the sporting credentials and have a listen to that exhaust. Does make quite a nice noise, actually. I mean, it's a lot more subtle. We had the Aston Martin DBS recently. It's a lot more subtle, more refined than that. I guess all the double glazing and sound deadening material that you get in these super luxury SUVs caters for that, and you don't want anything as ghastly as the exhaust note rumbling away all the time. But that was in Sport Plus mode, so you've got GT, Sport and Sport Plus modes in the car, and you can do that individually as well, so you can have the ride setting in whichever three of those you prefer, and marry that up with the exhaust and the powertrain delivery as well. So yeah, it's quite configurable, which is good. So on a motorway cruise, or you know, your sort of GT driving, you know, you're going to get on fine in this on long journeys. Absolutely fine. It's just really, really smooth. Sophisticated, quiet. It's sitting there. So we're doing national speed limit at the moment, and it's sitting there about 1700 RPM. Nice and quiet. You know, perfectly amenable. Quick stab of the right foot, and off you go again. And it does pick up pace really well. So from standstill, it's a bit sluggish. I say a bit sluggish. It does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, which isn't slow by any stretch of the imagination. But it does just take a second to pick up. It's much better from sort of moving speeds. You know, sort of that motorway driving. If you've had to drop down to 40, 50 miles an hour and you need a quick squeeze to get back up to 70, it will do that, and it will do it double quick as well. It's really, really impressive. Plenty of power in that setting. And if you want to hustle along a decent B road as well, you can. I mean, the steering's nice and precise. It's quite light, but I mean, you'd expect that from an SUV. We've got the steering mode in GT at the moment. Again, that is configurable between GT, Sport and Sport Plus, so you can have it a little bit heavier. I mean, it's obviously not the last word in feedback. It is an SUV, but it is perfectly precise, and you know, the reaction time is quick as well, so you can place it quite nicely. If you wanted to, dare I say it, you could even take this on a track day, and you would undoubtedly have a good time as well. Loads of traction to work with, precise steering, plenty of noise to entertain you as well. But you know, this car does just sort of do everything in every setting. You know, cruising along in an urban environment, hitting speed bumps and potholes, no drama. It handles those with aplomb. It's really, really comfortable, really smooth. On motorways, like I said, again, really good. Out on a decent beat road, really good. So I've been trying to position this car. We've reviewed a few of these super SUVs recently, most recently the Maserati Levante Trofeo, and we've had the Bentley Bentayga and the Audi RS Q8, and we've had the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, we've had the Porsche Cayman as well. this really does have its own distinct proposition. I mean, for a first attempt at this market, because this car has to succeed for Aston Martin, because everyone has to make an SUV, because they're seemingly the only cars that sell, this has to succeed for them, and I just think it will. I think it looks really good and it looks distinctive, which is important, and I think even from here it's distinctive as well. It's got all the luxury touches you want. I mean, heated and air conditioned seats are really nice, the soft leather's really good, and it's finished really well in here. I'd say it's arguably finished a little bit better than the DBS was, just in terms of, you know, the infotainment's definitely a step up from that as well. Still no touch screen, but, you know, higher resolution of screen and all that sort of thing, so they have definitely moved it in the right direction. It's not quite as raucous and as savage as the Levante Trofeo or the RSQ8, but then I don't think you'd want it to be, and it's not quite as refined as Bentayga, and again, I don't think you'd want it to be. It sort of sits quite neatly between those cars, which is good, because it does mean that this car, you know, it is a distinct proposition in its own right, and I'm sure that's what Aston Martin were aiming for with this, and that's absolutely what they've achieved. You know, you can roll along quietly and you can be a bit of a hooligan, which is great, and it's got all the, you know, the practicality. The boot's massive, as you'd expect. I think it's over 600 litres, so you can get everything in there. You're going to get the family and the dog in there, and you're going to get across country pretty well in this. So I was trying to think of things to sort of fault on it, really, and I've struggled a little bit. I don't think there is really anything that you could pull it up on. It does everything that you'd want from a luxury super SUV. The performance is there, it looks good, certainly from the back. I think it is, from the rear, it's definitely hands down the best looking SUV, and it's got a bit of aggression when you need it as well, and it's unmistakably an Aston Martin, which is nice. There's something a little bit understated about it. It's not as in your face as like the Levante Trofeo or the RSQ8, and it's better looking than the Bentayga, so it's, you know, it's quite refined, but also got that performance, and it's, you know, it feels like an Aston Martin. That's probably the biggest compliment you can pay it, because, you know, the Aston Martin badge carries gravitas, and, you know, the DBX is no exception to the range. I think it slots in quite neatly. I think it's also well set up for the inevitability of a hybrid powertrain, and dare I say it, an electric one in future. It, you know, it's very smooth, very relaxed when you want it to be, and I think it will suit that sort of power delivery going forward as well. So I think Aston Martin have lined themselves up well with a car, both for now and for the next few years as well. If you're shopping around in this market, then this is absolutely well worth having a look at. I've been really impressed with it, and, you know, for a first stab, I know there have been luxury super SUVs on the market for a while, so there has been a blueprint to follow, but it's very easy to get these things wrong, and I don't think Aston Martin have. I do quite like this car. It's subtle yet aggressive, you know, it's dynamic enough that you can enjoy yourself in it, noisy enough that you know what's going on as well, but refined enough that if you are just doing sort of cross-country driving, you're going to enjoy that as well. So yeah, absolutely, I've been really impressed with this car. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button, and please also consider subscribing. We've got loads more coming up on the channel. We've got a Range Rover SV autobiography, so another sort of luxury SUV to have a look at. Coming up next though, Caterham 620, so a bit of a change of scenery. Then a Ferrari Roma, we've got an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, we've got a Kia Stinger and a Cupra Formentor. So that's just what we've got lined up for the moment. There will be more. We've got loads more on the channel as well, so, you know, please feel free, have a look through what we've done already. But yeah, like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe, and please, we'll see you soon. Thank you.